All right, welcome. Today we're going to do a deep dive into something called the Lipa Pocket architecture. We're going to take a look at a whole new kind of financial network that tries to mix the ease of mobile money with the real power of blockchain tech. So let's just start with a big question, one that really gets to the absolute heart of what this whole system is about. What if the mobile payment apps you use every day were actually built on top of crypto? Okay, so to answer that, we have to know what we're talking about, right? At its core, Lipa Pocket is a digital payments infrastructure. The easiest way to think about it is like your typical mobile money network. But, and this is the key part, instead of using old school banking systems, it's all powered by blockchain and stablecoins, specifically USDT. Okay, so here's how we're going to break this all down. First, we're going to pop the hood and look at the core engine. Then we'll explore all the different portals that people use to actually access that engine. And finally, we'll zoom out and see how the whole thing fits together as one complete system. So let's kick things off with Section 1, inside the core engine. This is, without a doubt, the heart of the entire ecosystem. It's the technology that makes every single thing happen. You know, a simple car analogy actually works perfectly here. Think of the core infrastructure as the engine. It's super powerful, it does all the real heavy lifting behind the scenes, and it's made up of a few critical parts that have to work together perfectly. First up, you've got the wallet infrastructure. Now, this isn't just some place to store your money. It's the system's absolute source of truth. It runs an internal ledger, think of it like a master accounting book, that keeps a perfect, real-time record of every single user's balance. Next, you have the payment processing engine. This is what makes everything feel instant. It's the part that validates and executes every single transaction inside the system. Payments, refunds, fees, you name it. And it does it in a flash just by updating that internal ledger. And the third piece of our engine is the blockchain integration layer. This is the super important bridge that connects the internal system to the wider crypto world. It handles all the deposits and withdrawals that happen on public blockchains like Tron or Ethereum. It's the on-ramp and off-ramp for the whole network. Okay, so we've got this really powerful engine, but that begs the question, how do people actually, use it? And that brings us to our second section, the portals. These are your access points to that powerful core engine. And this is where our car analogy gets even better. If the core infrastructure is the engine, then the portals are like custom-built dashboards. Every different kind of user, a regular customer, a shop owner, a big business, gets their own unique dashboard designed exactly for what they need to do. And here's a perfect example of that in action. For a customer, you have a simple, clean app. You can send money, scan a QR code, check your balance, that's it. But for a merchant, their portal is a serious business tool, loaded with features for taking payments, creating invoices, and looking at sales reports. Two very different users, two very different dashboards. So let's see how this portal-to-engine connection works in a real-world payment. The customer uses their portal, the app, to scan a QR code. That simple action sends a request straight to the core engine. The engine then does the heavy lifting. It validates the payment, zips the funds from the customer's ledger over to the merchant's ledger, and boom, it's done, all seamless. But this system goes way beyond just simple payments. There's a whole separate portal just for big businesses and enterprises. And it's packed with the kinds of advanced features they need, like sending bulk payments, processing payroll, managing their treasury, and even setting up complex approval systems for different employees. But here's a really important question. How does all this digital money connect to the real world of physical cash? Well, that's the super critical job of the agent portal. Agents are the people on the ground, the human bridge that lets you turn your physical cash into digital USDT, that's a cash in, and lets you turn your digital balance back into cash in your hand, a cash out. And, when you zoom out and look at the whole range of portals, you really see how complete this thing is. There's an OTC desk for big-time traders, a portal for governments to accept tax payments, a developer portal so programmers can build their own stuff on top of it, and an admin portal for the people running the whole show. There's literally a door for every type of user. All right, time for our final section. Let's zoom all the way out and put all these pieces together. We've seen the engine, and we've seen the dashboards, but what really holds it all together and makes it a single, powerful system? Because here's the thing, a real financial ecosystem is so much more than just good code. It needs these deep, foundational layers to make sure there's always money available, to handle final settlements, and to keep the whole thing secure. These are really the unsung heroes of the architecture. And here they are. You've got a conversion layer that talks to regular banks, and a liquidity layer that makes sure there's always enough cash and crypto to go around. You got a settlement layer to get money out to merchants, and then there's the absolutely critical compliance and risk layer. This is what handles things like fraud monitoring and all the regulatory stuff like KYC, that's just know your customer, and AML, which is anti-money laundering. And when you have this complete, multi-layered system, you can build a business model that actually sustains itself. The ecosystem doesn't have to rely on just one thing. It can earn revenue from the spreads on currency conversion, from small transaction fees, and from special services for merchants. And that's really key for its long-term survival. And all of this brings us right back to the big, ambitious vision here. This isn't just about making one type of payment a little easier. The goal is to build an entire digital financial world, all powered by stablecoins, that can handle everything from paying for groceries to sending money across borders to paying for government services. So as we wrap this up, the architecture we've just walked through, with its powerful core engine, its specialized portals for everyone, and those deep support layers, it really leaves us with a pretty compelling question to think about. Is this kind of comprehensive crypto-powered model the actual blueprint for what financial networks are going to look like in the future?